Hello, welcome to Bear Talk channel. I'm Bear, a product designer who lives and works in Auckland, New Zealand. As a UX and product designer, I've asked by many of students or some people want to transition from a career into design career. And this is one frequently asked question, like how can I know this is the right direction for me to start becoming as a UX designer? What if I don't know which way to choose as my career direction? So a lot of people just feel a little bit confused at the beginning of their career decision-making stage. Like they don't know, is that a proper way to go? So I think I might able to share something on this. I decided to start my own career as a UX designer a few years ago when I moved to New Zealand, start from scratch. And before I had a job as a marketing specialist, so as a marketing guy. And people ask me the same question, like what if, and I ask myself the same question. So is it the right direction? Am I making the right decision? So this is really hard to answer because it's follow on a lot of follow-up questions. Like how I wrote a question list, like how is it work? If you work as a designer, how is it work daily? What do they do? What does other designer do? And why? What does it solve and what does it deal with? Is it more people-related work, or you might do it by yourself? And what is the necessary skill set and knowledges for working, and how to learn them? How is it paid? This is a critical one. And what's the career path for that job, for that direction? What's the market? How big, how small the market like? And does it match me? Do I actually feel happy when I'm working as a designer or not? Do I like it as a job or just as my imagination? I haven't ever involved as a designer. I don't know how it looks like, how it works like, and how to find the first job. This is critical, right? So I think you might have other questions, and please write them down. And if you don't know any questions, it's time to do some research. So I think especially when you work as, I just make a quick doodle for that. Like if you work as a job A, for example, you're making cupcakes, but you're not that happy and you want to transition from cupcake maker into someone who's in charge of pizza. And this is as an imagination. And before you make that decision to go that path, you might do some research. And at this stage, the goal for the research is to do it in the cheapest and the fastest way. And this is also something revealed from the book, Just Enough Research by Erica Hall, a great book for every designer. And in that book, it also shows that the purpose of doing research is to help you make the confident decision and to raise up your confidence level. And that's the outcome. And I think for this one, for making the career decision, there are just 3 approaches that I suggested you might be able to do. So let's go to those 3. So the first one, talk to people. This is probably the most efficient way to get information about the industry or about the type of job. So if you're interested to be working as a designer, as a product designer, reach out to some product designers and have a cup of coffee with them. We call it informational interview. And you can ask questions like how it works, like how your job, what does your job involved, and how you deal with all the challenges. What are the challenges, and how you got the first job. This is really critical. So I think at this stage, just reach out to people and to understand the industry, so that you will base your understanding on that job on insights from other professionals rather than on your own imagination. So tip 1. And tip 2 is to do some crash course. So this is what I mean as a way to, let me finish this draw. So it's a very suggested way, to recommended way to get to know the structure of that industry. For example, if you want to work as a designer, there are some terms, some terminologies, and some methodologies, and also different theories and different best practices on different areas. So it could be quite overwhelming. And if you go deep dive at first, for example, just take a 2 years course on learning how to become a designer, that's too much. And that's investment is too much for you, both time, money, and effort. So I suggest to find like a 5 hours, 10 hours course, and then can cover most of the knowledges. At least you have a clear picture of how you're going to work as a designer, as this professional, and then you can deep dive later. But if you find, oh, during the crash course, I'm not that type of person, I'm not interested in that, and then stop it. So you only invest 10 hours, which is awesome. So there are a course on LinkedIn, or even myself, I created like an 8 hours course to show and introduce how to become a designer. Yeah, just check those courses for sure. And the third one is visual your findings. So you might see there are a lot of movies or TV shows that people use a really large board and put all the information on that board, like some pictures or some newspapers, telephone numbers, all things, and a map, and then use it to analyze things like Sherlock Holmes. And this is what designers also do. We call it affinity mapping. And the way is to put all the things on the same page, and then on the same place, and then you might find the pattern behind it. So some pattern or some connection will emerge. This is what I suggest. I try to do that to make all the things visible. Right, so these are the 3 suggestions that I have for you. Talk to people, take some crash courses, and visualize your findings. Hope that works for you, and hope that helps you to make the confident career decisions. Right, I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.